Good afternoon. This is a hearing of the Chatham Conservation Commission being held on November 12, 2025, in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Chatham Wetlands Protection Bylaw and regulations. My name is Karen Lattin, and I serve as the chair. Today's hearing is being broadcast live on Xfinity Channel 1072 and is being recorded on the on-demand archives available on the town's website. It is being conducted in person, by phone, and by video conference. The agenda, instructions on how to attend, and copies of documents for review are posted on the town's website. To all participants, whether attending by phone or online, please remain muted unless you've been recognized by the chair. When recognized, please identify yourself for the record. If you're attending by phone, you can mute and unmute by using *6. If you are online and you are not a commissioner, please keep your camera turned off unless you've been recognized. Indicate that you wish to speak by using the raised hand feature. So we have a record of a quorum. I will now ask each commissioner to indicate their presence. Vice Chair Paul Johnson is not here. Janet Williams.
Present.
Elise Gordon.
Present.
Eric Hilbert.
Present.
Bob Delvecchio.
Present.
And I'm here, so we've established we have a quorum. Is there anyone who would like to make announcements, comments, or future agenda items for anything other than the properties on the agenda today? I'm not seeing anybody having anything. I will say that at the next meeting, we will be discussing the regulation changes that need to be done for the new applications that we're discussing today. Just so that you all are aware. Okay, before we begin the agenda, Bradford, are there any announcements or any requests for continuances today?
None that I'm aware of today.
Thank you. At this point, Bradford Bauer, Chatham's Assistant Conservation Agent, will now lead us through the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First up is an order of conditions for 170 Vineyard Avenue, David Briggs, map 10D, parcel 4-E114, SE 10-3703, proposed raise and replacement of single-family dwelling. This was continued from October 23rd, 2024.
Thank you. Hi, Hannah. I see that you're on.
Good morning.
I actually asked that you be able to attend because I know you asked for a continuance till the end of February, and I also understand that the application with ZBA has been withdrawn and needs to be refiled, correct?
That's correct. So the information that I have in front of me right now is that the ZBA requested further alterations. And what the applicant is intending to do is to stay roughly with the same design, but to reduce the square footage. So in all, there won't be significant changes from my understanding to the design, just reductions overall, which we had submitted additional revisions back in July, which I believe we didn't present to the Conservation Commission because at that point we still didn't have ZBA approval. But we had submitted physical copies of the revised plan.
So are these changes something that affects our area?
The reductions overall, so what was included in the last plan revision was a reduction in the dimensions of the garage, both length and width. So a reduction in square footage, though it was largely completely outside of buffer zone. There was some minor changes to grade also outside of buffer zone, adjacent to the house that were associated with the AC units. So they had some grading around that, but still outside of buffer zone. And finally, they had some changes to the walkway that were also within FEMA flood zone, but outside of the 100-foot buffer to BBW.
Okay, and I understand that you wanted us to be reminded that this continuance is because we don't finalize orders until after they've been approved by ZBA. And you also have said that there are very minor changes anticipated. The reason we usually do not approve orders until after ZBA has approved them is so that nobody has to come back for an amended order if anything changes within our jurisdiction. But given that you really want this order, if you would like us to approve it today, we can do that.
Yeah, so my request is twofold, or could take two different parts. I understand that the commission has limits to the continuances they'll allow. My understanding as of right now is that the applicant intends to refile with ZBA within the next few weeks. But given obviously the backlog, they likely won't be heard until January. So part one of my request was to be continued until the end of February to hopefully get that approval. But if that's not possible, then what I would request of the commission is that they vote on the order of conditions and issue it with the understanding that BSC will refile an amended order of conditions or minor mod to the plan if it's even more insignificant if there are any changes that are significant to the interests of the Conservation Commission following ZBA approval.
If you want it approved today and you're aware that any changes that affect our area would have to come through as an amended order or a field change or whatever, we will approve it. It's just usually we're trying to save the homeowner the expense of having to refile in the future if ZBA changed something. So it is up to you. You can ask that we continue it till February, but that will be the last time. Or you can ask that we approve the order as it's been written. And we, I believe,
Yes.
reviewed it quite a while ago, so.
Understood. I do respect the commission's procedure in this, and I think it would be best for the commission to vote on the order of conditions today with the understanding that once ZBA approval has occurred, if there's any changes, we'll have to return for an amended order.
That's fine. Then, commissioners, do you have anything that you would like, we've reviewed this quite a while ago, but anything else that you might want to see added, changed in the order? Okay, then, Janet, could we have
Okay. Yep. I move that we close the hearing and approve the order of conditions for 170 Vineyard Avenue.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, you've got it.
I thank you all for your patience. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Hannah. All right, the next, Bradford, please.
Next up is a request for an amendment to an order of conditions for 70 Meadowview Road South, Kyle and Patricia Lissac, map 10D, parcel 16-S15, SE 10-3668, proposed addition, attached garage, and reconstruction of deck with mitigation. Amendment is to add invasive management and restoration, rearrange approved mitigation, redesign the driveway, add a retaining wall, redesign the front entryway, and retain approved rent station. This was continued from November 5th, 2025.
Thank you. How are
Hi,
you?
great. How are you?
Good.
Caitlin Camilleri with Blue Flax Design. Thanks for having us back so quickly. So we had the chance to do a more thorough coverage calculations on what we're proposing and what the previously approved plan proposed. And we actually found an overall reduction by 99 square feet of proposed landscape structure in jurisdiction. We also spoke with the homeowner, and he has agreed to remove that lower rinse station completely. And we will restore that area with native vegetation. And I think I also graphically edited the driveway to show the line depicting that there's driveway, shell, gravel, permeable driveway, and then it would be a microclover fescue on the other side. And I'm happy to go through the coverage calculations table we
Please.
provided. Okay.
Because they seem off to me.
Okay. So within the resource area, the lower resource area, what was originally proposed by THAD was to remove a portion of lawn and restore it, and we're proposing to do lawn removal and restoration as well, but our numbers are a little different there. So we're proposing less mitigation in this area. What is the difference off the top of my head? We're proposing 1,447 square feet less of lawn removal within the resource area because we've decided to change its orientation and create a vegetated buffer strip instead of it being on the west side. And so that's the difference there, but we're also proposing over 11,000 square feet of mitigation throughout the entire property. And then in the 50-foot buffer in the inner aura, we are proposing to increase the hardscape in the form of that retaining wall below the deck by 6 square feet, and then have pervious in-ground timber steppers, which adds an increase of 20 square feet, which we'd also like to note the homeowner would like those to be in-ground granite steppers instead of timber risers in that space. And then within the 100-foot buffer, the pervious hardscape is reduced by 40 square feet and impervious is reduced by 85 square feet, which is 128 square feet of landscape structure reduction in the 100, which is how we come to the overall 99 square feet of reduction of landscape structure in jurisdiction. And then we have something highlighted here.
I did that, because, sorry about that, I didn't realize I was highlighting the one that everybody was gonna look at. Mike, I was looking at the percentage figures and comparing them to the original, and it seems that there's a math error somewhere.
Well, Teresa Sprague with Blue Flax Design. I will say that THAD's coverage tables are incredibly complicated.
Yes, they're very,
And we were doing our best to try and match THAD's coverage tables so that you could kind of compare apples to apples. I did not go through the percentages. I do know the square foot numbers are accurate because I think we were at that question of, I believe you were previously at 34.9% coverage, and we didn't want to go over the 35% allowed. So we did confirm that we've got a 99 square foot reduction over what was previously approved. Now, I did not go through all of THAD's percentage coverages. We've made no changes to the building. We're also trying to sort out what THAD is calling natural area versus landscape lawn. So we were doing our best without
do
any.
every week.
Exactly. So what we were really trying to do is just look at what was approved previously, what we were proposing, and where the differences were. So we have less mitigation in the resource area because we narrowed it so we could create that vegetated buffer and still allow for winter dock storage and summer trailer storage. And then increase the overall mitigation with the invasive species management and restoration throughout the rest of the site. And then from there, the addition of that wall underneath the deck adds some additional square feet within the inner aura, but the change in the driveway layout and that large circular driveway that was previously approved, we're able to shrink that. Even though we've sort of moved and allowed for some extra space so that they can actually use both bays of their garage, we still were able to shrink the amount of driveway within the outer aura overall. So we know that we are under the 34.9% coverage, but I can't compare the apples to apples on the percentages that are shown on the conservation areas because we just weren't sure what was what.
But I think what I'm struggling with is our 35%, it should be the building, the driveway. The mitigation isn't part of the 35%. And when I'm looking at this, in the outer aura, it certainly looks like you're over 35. So do we have anywhere that number that with the hardscape part, the driveway,
Right, so that's what we're saying. The total hardscape is being reduced by 99 square feet. We're not making any changes to the building. The only
But-
change we're really making is to the driveway.
in the outer aura, you're going from 900 square feet to 2,280 square feet in buildings. You're going in hardscape from 450 to 852. And then you do have a reduction in hardscape of, from 310 to 70. To me, that's not a reduction. That's an increase.
So we're not making any change to buildings, so honestly, I'm not,
That numbers from.
yeah.
Can you move to the other table that was part of this? Because this is where, there should have been, yeah, this one, I think. So in this one, exactly the same under buildings in the outer aura, 900 to 2280, coming to 26.7%. And in yours, those same figures come to 31.5.
We didn't make any changes to
No changes.
That's why I think it's a math
We
error, and it
basically
looks like
took-
it was in this original table that
Yeah,
we approved.
yeah.
We basically
It looks like
took-
we
Yeah,
have an oops earlier.
Right, I
Okay.
wonder if the percentages are including mitigation, which is not something we knew to exclude.
well, and we literally just took the numbers from Thad's table and created an Excel spreadsheet and tried to
And then
plug the
Excel
same
does-
numbers in.
I get it.
And split
Yep.
it, yes.
And it's not easy. No.
Yes.
Hence why we ask you guys, because it's not easy.
Understood, yes. I mean, I think if we were able to do a much, the table, for instance, that you have in your checklist, and we could have made a much easier comparison in that regard. And I'm not at all, that is very thorough, so I'm not at all knocking
Oh, no,
Thad's
no.
numbers.
No,
It is just hard to-
Incredibly
It's hard to
thorough.
understand.
Yes.
So, and we appreciate it. It's
Yes.
just hard to decipher at times.
Correct.
So, anybody have any questions, comments? I love that they removed the other rinse station. Thank you so much, because that really was doing me in.
Yep.
Anybody? Comments, questions?
That's the only
I
two
got a,
things
I got a
Go ahead,
comment.
Bob, please.
I just like the invasive species management. It's definitely a positive.
Yeah.
Since the first design was proposed, I think. The restoration, it's wonderful. So I commend that part of the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think overall, it's a wonderful improvement.
Yep.
So we appreciate it. All right, if we could have a motion, please?
We have to continue for order?
Oh, true, yes. So we could do it December 3rd. We only have, right now, an RDA, 2 NOIs, and a COC for December 3rd.
Okay.
So
Okay.
would that work?
That would work. I know the builder has been very anxious about getting this
Okay.
retaining wall settled underneath the deck so that he can put the heat pumps in, because he needs to put that retaining wall in to get that grade. So yes, as soon as possible would
Okay,
be great.
so we'll put it on for December 3rd?
We appreciate it, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Then I will move that we continue 70 Meadowbrook Road South to December 5th for an order of conditions.
3rd.
Third. Sorry, third.
Second.
4th, no. Elise?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
And I say aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next, Bradford, please.
Next up is a notice of intent for 20 L Street for Karen Luscoco, map 10F, parcel R9, SE 10-3730, remove and replace pond access stairs. This was continued from May 7th, 2025.
Good afternoon. Stephanie Sequin with Roder and Wilcox, representing Karen and Eleanor Luscoco. And
Mike Tanis, Blue Flax Design.
So this is an application to replace an existing set of stairs that provide access to White Pond. You're hopefully looking at a revised site plan dated October 31st, 2025, as well as the Blue Flax restoration and planting plan with, I think, the same date. The revised plan incorporates hopefully all the comments that you had at the first meeting. We've revised the proposed stair profile to elevate it a little bit further off the face of the slope. We've got, I think at the closest point, 1 foot clearance between the ground surface and the bottom of the stair framing. We've added at the top of the stairs where the existing path is showing some signs of erosion. We're proposing a series of dug-in timber steps that will absorb allow some of that runoff to infiltrate and hopefully prevent it from continuing to erode. And also noted an existing retaining wall that's next to the deck is in need of replacing. So that's been noted, and in replacing it, it will incorporate a set of stairs rather than having just foot traffic on that embankment. We also had Blue Flax delineated the bordering vegetated wetland that is down on the beach area. So we've shown that edge of wetland and the 50 and 100-foot buffers to the BVW. And noted the final change in the construction notes for the stairs made reference to the Blue Flax restoration and planting plan, which will serve to, they've included specifications, and I'll let Mike, get into more detail on that, on how to stabilize the removal of the existing stairs and replacement with the new stairs. So unless you have any questions on the site plan, I can hand it over.
Anybody on the site plan?
Question, just
Go
a
ahead.
quick question, Stephanie. So you're saying, I heard you, because I was looking at the detail, trying to understand the elevation of how far elevated the steps will be above the ground and what and this will go to Mike, what the planting options will be for planting underneath the stairway. So you said it's a foot?
At the beginning of each landing, that's where you get the closest contact, because as the landing goes out level and the grade drops below it, you're obviously increasing that separation. So we're at the middle landing, that's where there's just 1 foot of clearance between existing grade and the bottom of the structure.
So what is the lowest elevation?
1 foot.
So,
Could somebody please mute? Could you please mute?
hello?
Okay, sorry.
So there's at no point in the whole set of stairs going down, is it less than a foot between?
Except at the very beginning, where, I mean, you've got to step from grade up to the platform, and
Yep.
then again at the very
And then the rest of
end.
it's a foot? Okay,
Yes.
that gives you lots of options, so, okay. That's what I wanted to know, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other site questions? All right, we'll move on to Blue Flax.
All right, Mike Tanis, Blue Flax Design. For our part of the plan, the 2 main goals are to restore the areas within the buffer zone disturbed from the removal of existing in-ground wooden steps and the installation of the stairs. So after the removal of the steps, we are going to bring in fill to fill in the areas to match the surrounding grades. The area will then be seeded with a mix of shade-tolerant native grasses and wildflowers and covered with biodegradable erosion control blanketing to hold it all in place. After the construction of the stairs, the area will also be planted with low bush blueberry shrubs and plugs of native shade-tolerant ferns and sedges, Pennsylvania sedge and marginal shield fern, which do well in deep shade, so they should be able to grow under the stairs and establish.
Okay.
To mitigate for this, we're going to add plantings at the bottom of the stairs along the cleared beach. So we're going to seed that with the same grass and wildflower mix and add shrubs of arrowwood viburnum and Clethra ulnifolia. There's an existing wood pile there from a fallen pine tree, so we're going to disassemble that and place it strategically in unvegetated areas throughout the forested area down there, basically mimicking a fallen tree, just in pieces. And we're also designating a location for a proposed kayak rack to limit the damage done to the vegetation from boats being stored on the beach. And that is it, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anybody want to start?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Eric.
yeah, this all looks fine. From the first meeting, I just mentioned that they're trimming the Leland cypresses on the, I think, the south side of the property, and they were throwing some of the branches over the banking, and that, those are to be removed.
Okay. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, hi, Mike, how are you? I know, I also noticed some furniture down below too, I believe, some chairs and so forth. Will they be removed as well? By the wood pile, I believe they were.
They certainly can be for, I mean, hopefully they'd be allowed to keep them there in the summer and just not store them over the winter. Is that what you're
Right.
looking for?
Right. And I like the idea of the woody shrubs down below there. That's an improvement, because that area was pretty huge, that cleared area. And that's going to be seeded as well after the shrubs are put in?
Correct.
Okay, I think it's an improvement. The in-ground steps above on the top, that will suffice for erosion control, for the water running down the slope?
Yes, and along the outsides too, if there's any signs of erosion, we could put more of the erosion control blanketing and seed just to address it if it should happen, but
Yeah, okay.
that should slow the water down and allow it to infiltrate.
Okay, thank you.
And one thing real quick that I forgot to mention is we're showing a proposed location for winter storage of a swimming dock, but they're removing that dock. So that's
Oh.
location,
That's not happening
that's
any
not
longer?
happening, correct.
Yeah.
That was my big sticking point.
Yeah, sorry, we did get word from the property owner, Teresa Sprague, Blue Flax Design, sorry. We did get word from the property owner after we filed this, that because it's a bunch of family members who own this home together, and they have one point person that we've been working with, that the family has decided to just disassemble and remove that entirely. It's not being used and nothing will be replaced. So that
Yes.
will, I think, be a large improvement.
Yeah.
Huge, because I actually was going to ask why they're storing it there and not up. And I understand that it's, hard to get it
Get
up
it
the
up
hill.
there.
But
Yes.
at the same time, it's not doing any
Agreed.
great environmental.
Yes, and so they have no plans to put a float back, and they'll just be removing that entirely from the area.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
So if that is going to be removed, that's going to open up an area that could be planted as well. Is there any thought about planting that area? I know that's a huge area, that's a whole beach area.
We could certainly do some more planting in that area, or alternatively, we could shift the kayak rack into that area because it's already open. So it would give them a little bit more room without being concerned about them. The kayak rack is in a little bit of a tight position, but it was the only place we could put it with the float needing storage. So we put it there. If we're able to shift the kayak rack down to that area, and they just stop disturbing the area to the north where we're currently showing the kayak rack, because there's a beautiful native vegetation. It's really a well-canopied site. The vegetation at the edge of the pond is in really good condition, and even with the low water levels, I'm sure they're up now after all this rain. The rose coreopsis and some of the rushes at the edge of the pond were all healthy. This is definitely, the family's using this beach, but I don't think it's used as frequently as some of the other beaches around this pond. I don't think it's used as intensely as some of the other beaches. So it's in a much more natural state than some of the other beaches around the pond. So we could either plant that area where the proposed location for the winter storage of the swim dock, or we could move the kayak rack into that area and then revegetate a little bit more on the north. That would be entirely.
That's my vote. Only because it's already disturbed.
Exactly.
And so why disturb a different area? I think that's a great idea.
Okay. That would be our recommendation as well, so.
Perfect.
Okay.
Anybody else, anything?
Just
Comments?
a
Go ahead.
quick question for Mike. Thank you for adding the wetland delineation sheets. It's always educational to look at those. But I was looking on the plans to see where your two test sections were. So I assume one is within the wetland and the other is somewhere outside of it?
Somewhere in the upland of that, yeah.
In the upland? I
I
guess
don't
so,
know.
because you got up.
I don't have the exact, so I didn't do it, our Keith Johnson
Okay.
at our company did it, but yeah, it would have been outside.
They're
the
very
wetland.
helpful to see when there's a question of where it is.
Okay.
But in the future, I would just ask that you mark on the plan where those test borings were, especially on like the soils. That would be good confirmation. But thank you for including it, because I do enjoy
Yes.
that.
Anybody have any other questions, concerns? Well, it sounds like we could go to an order. So,
We have Board of Appeals is
right,
December 18th.
I saw. So that, could we continue it to January 14th, which is the first meeting after ZBA?
Fine with us, yes.
Okay. So, January 14th, 2026.
All right, I move that we continue 20 L Street to the hearing on January 14th, 2026 for an order of conditions.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye. You're all set.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, Bradford, the next, please.
Moving right along, we have requests for certificates of compliance. I'll read the next two in, since they're both the same property.
Great.
First up is 325 Fox Hill Road, Eastward Ho Country Club, map 10M, parcel 2-1, SE 10-2603, for a raise and replace of two existing buildings, install a new sewage disposal system and stormwater drainage system, and to make utility upgrades. The other is for 325 Fox Hill Road, Eastward Ho Country Club, SE 10-2804. This was for demolition of the Yacht Club building and construction of a new building outside the velocity zone, new sewage disposal system, and restoration plantings. Looks like we have Sean online.
Yes. Hi, Sean.
Good afternoon.
Do you have anything you want to bring to us before, if anybody has questions?
No, I think Bradford did a thorough job of reviewing, and he has some comments on one of them, and I'll just let him make any comments that he has.
Great, thank you. Okay, Bradford.
So no issues with the Yacht Club, with the maintenance building. I did see behind the sand storage area, there was a fence that the sand has gone over and has kind of broken through the fence. I have some photos.
Sure.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
It changed hands, yeah. Teague and Bond.
Yes.
So kind of tough to see, but the, yeah, it's kind of pushing out this this fence and there's a little sand congregating, I would just ask that it be fixed.
Okay.
Yeah, so the superintendent isn't, Sean Riley with Ty and Bond representing the applicant. The superintendent is on vacation this week. I've reached out and intend on, A, getting it cleaned up, getting the fence put back in, and B, either adding another row of blocks on the back of that, or he needs to have a discussion with his equipment operator to try to keep the cereal within the cereal bowl. This is probably a 5-6 foot high storage bin that someone decided to just carry it over the top. So there's some sort of a fix there that to prevent this from happening again.
So Bradford, could we approve, if everybody agrees, approve these with the stipulation that the one isn't issued until that's fixed,
Yeah, I think that could be the same,
like we've been
approved
doing
pending,
for other things?
yeah.
Okay, anybody have any questions or comments about either of the 325 Fox Hill? Okay, then, a motion, please.
Okay, I move that we approve the certificates of compliance for 325 Fox Hill Road, the maintenance building, and the yacht club building rebuilds.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Next, please, Bradford.
Next is a certificate of compliance request for 124 Mooncussers Lane, William and Elizabeth Sorensen, map 10A, parcel H2, SE 10-2905. This was site improvements including a driveway, footpath, and invasive species management. I did have some concerns about the footpath and whether or not the mitigation was done with that footpath.
Yeah, so I think
Go ahead.
Sean Riley with Ty and Bond again, representing the applicant. I think this is one that will probably continue to the next hearing so that I can meet with Bradford on site and do a deeper dive into this. The buffer zones have changed since this project was approved. There used to be a buffer to land subject to coastal storm flowage that was removed. So the buffer zone moved much closer to, actually it's off of the beach now rather than land subject. The work is still within land subject to coastal storm flowage, so I think we just need to go out there and take a look at where the buffers are, the work that was done, and then come back to you to discuss this in a couple of weeks.
Great. Okay, so we could continue it to December 17th, that, because otherwise, or December 3rd.
Either one would work.
Why don't we do December 3rd? Because it's still a couple weeks away.
Good job, Bradford.
Yeah. Okay, if we could have a motion.
Yep, I move that we continue the request for a certificate of compliance for 124 Mooncussers Lane to December the 3rd.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, the next, Bradford, please.
Next is a certificate of compliance for 94 Seashells Drive, Joel Schwartz, Shez Schwartz LLC, map 1A, parcel S2, SE 10-3443, for nourishment, snow fence, and sturdy drift fencing. This looked fine to Paul and I.
You did, according to Paul, there was one deviation. They didn't want to install the access mats, and I know Paul reached out to Catherine. Did she respond at all?
I don't know the answer to that one.
Paul sent it to us yesterday afternoon, and I don't see any response from Catherine. I didn't know if maybe verbally she had done it.
I have not heard. I don't know if she is online or not.
Paul on?
Paul is
No.
out sick today.
Okay. Crystal, do you know anything?
I
She's-
don't, I'm not
Okay.
sure.
You don't think there's an issue?
I don't think there's an issue with the design, and the nourishment all looked set.
Yeah.
The pathways clearly marked on either side with symbolic fencing to keep
Okay.
people go
Yep.
down towards the water. So I don't think that access mat would necessarily make a huge difference in this case.
Okay. Then,
I must have the wrong house. I didn't see any snow fence or anything. I just saw beach nourishment with beach grass, but maybe I had the.
Nope.
There was no
Through the
sand
chair?
fencing this one.
go ahead.
So, no, actually, he's correct. You couldn't see the sand fencing because it is buried underneath the,
That's what I figured.
yeah. And if you look at through the pictures, the photos that we provided, I think we provided an aerial view that showed it before it was covered up within that package.
Okay. Then I think we can have a motion to.
Notice that the waves are already eating away at it.
They
Yeah,
are.
well, they will, yeah.
And I believe some of that was intentional, that there would be some sacrificial sand.
Okay, then we can have a motion.
All right, I move that we approve the request for certificate of compliance for 94 Seashells Drive.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, the next one, please.
Next is a certificate of compliance for 127 Old Salt Works Road, Kevin and Hope Foley, map 13M, parcel 18-C37, SE 10-3167, raise and replace of an existing dwelling and garage, replace the septic, construction of a swimming pool, and landscape improvements. Paul reviewed this one, and he said he did not have any concerns.
Right, yeah, he didn't send any concerns to me. Anybody have questions, comments? Okay, then we can have a motion.
Okey-doke. I move that we approve the request for a certificate of compliance for 127 Old Salt Works Road.
Second.
Elise?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, the next, please.
Next is a certificate of compliance for 58 Oyster Bluffs Limited Partnership, map 13E, parcel 66-H9, SE 10-1209, for an elevated timber walkway. This one is an old order of conditions, and there were a few issues with the dock design. Sean, I think Paul had reached out to have you clarify some things for us.
Yeah, so there was some questions about the stair being replaced. It was replaced. And I do, if I could share my screen. Let's see. Here, there was some debris that needed to be picked up adjacent. I think it's stuff just came adrift and ended up in the area to be cleaned up. There was also some questions about the pruning of the vegetation. You were nice enough to find the old order of conditions that has an ongoing condition for the current homeowner to have the ability to prune that. This is under agreement, so we may see you in the future to A, continue that pruning condition, and B, probably to replace the stair and the pier. But either way, we'd be back before you for any of that work.
Okay, because also that same old order said annual pruning is permitted subject to prior notice to the commission, which probably never happened. But,
I don't know, I just came onto the job, so.
oh, no, I get it. So you believe, Bradford, this is approvable? Since they're closing?
I think so, yes. There's also a sale pending, and
Right.
As mentioned, any major changes would have to come
Yeah.
back for approval.
So I think we can approve it. Okay, if we could have a motion, please.
I move that we approve the request for a certificate of compliance for 58 Oyster Bluff.
Second.
Elise.
Aye.
Janet.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, next, Bradford. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
That concludes sign bonds, certificate of compliance day.
Yes, exactly. Go ahead, Bradford.
Moving on to a discussion for changes to the notice of intent.
Don't-
and
Oh,
RDA.
is that before the minutes?
Yep.
I don't
is.
have that, okay. Good, okay. So, last week, and I think, Bob, did you get a copy of the new
I did.
applications?
I
Good.
did, however, I didn't see it on the agenda, so.
Well, because it got, I asked
Added.
Crystal to add it on Monday, and she gave us these on Friday. Did anyone see anything that was of concern? The purpose of this, changing these and sort of tightening everything up a bit, is that we are hoping by requiring, as Crystal's been very good about doing lately, making sure people submit a complete application and defining what's complete, and making sure that they don't notify abutters before the application has been viewed as complete. And it also gives the abutters better instructions on what they can do to see what's coming before us, because she gets a lot of questions. And people just show up saying, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I got this, and I don't know how what I do to deal with it. So we didn't create this on our own. Lincoln, Massachusetts, thank you very much, has done this. And so we sort of used their template and modified it to match our needs. As I said last week, it did go before, Greg and Paul and Bradford and Crystal and the other Paul and I reviewed it and came up with what was then presented, with Greg. We modified things a bit per his desires, and then Greg did take it to the town attorney, who made a few modifications to make sure that we are in compliance legally. And then we are now bringing it to you guys. The goal is that if you don't see anything, and if you do, we can discuss it and modify it. But if you don't, the goal is that this will go into effect in January. The reason I say that is, let's start with a new year. And also, at that time, we will hopefully have been approved the minor changes that need to happen to the regulations to match this procedure, which is primarily changing the word minimum requirements, minimum requirements for an application to a complete application. This hopefully, as we've been trying, will mean that we don't have to continue as many properties, because we will have a complete application, mitigation or whatever they're supposed to give us will all come in before it comes to us, so that we can review the entire project and hopefully not have to have things continued for 5, 6, 7, 10 times and take our time, valuable time. So that's the background. Did anybody have any comments, questions?
I have a couple of really little
Okay.
changes. But first, I wanted to compliment those of you who worked on it, because it's
Mostly, Crystal did the actual paper.
very clear. I love the color coding. I love the process visual. I think that it really enhances and makes it a lot more clear. I'm putting on my Bob Rawls hat. In the applicant's right to an open hearing, I think the third line under there, we should take out the punctuation after open it and put it after the parenthetical. That would risk constructive approval, because it's actually part of the same sentence. And then the other one is kind of the same, a period on incomplete applications, point 2. Third bullet needs a period after the word incomplete.
Okay.
And then alignment on the checklist for filing an NOI. Item B, project narrative, it's just an alignment thing for the bullet.
Oh, yeah.
Really teeny
It's-
tiny stuff.
I can't remember what the issue that made that difficult, but anyway,
Beautiful.
thank you.
Beautiful job, Crystal.
She did amazingly, and it's a lot. Anything?
Yeah, I'm going to add on, Crystal, well done. This is great. I'm enthralled with the Abutters Guide to the Conservation Commission permitting process. I think we should give that to everybody, but certainly it's great for abutters, and that begins the process of getting this information out there every time there's an application. So it continually educates the public about what's going on. So that's really, really great. The only two things I had were on the checklist thing, what's it called? Checklist for filing. Under item D, the email part, I would urge us to do in capital letters and bold, do not include copies of checks and abutter lists. Every time we post things in public that have checks and abutters' names and addresses, the alarm bells go off in my head, and that's every week, because we do that, because they submit it all as a package, and it's very hard electronically to extract pages. So I think we need to really make sure that people know, don't put the abutter list, the checks, and also the green cards also have abutters' names and addresses. None of that should be in the electronic. It can be in a hard copy.
The green cards will be coming later because.
Right, they won't be part of that.
That's part of the whole thing. I mean, in Lincoln, they're handed in at the time of the hearing.
Right. That's
So,
actually
I mean,
appropriate
they
time.
can hand them in prior to that, but at least they won't be a part of their original packet.
Yep.
But I agree, yes.
Yeah, just
we
to
don't-
emphasize the point,
I
so
think-
people begin to think about making sure they're not putting that stuff out there in the public domain.
Yeah,
It
I
doesn't
think
belong there.
definitely bolding that would be great.
Yep. And the only other thing is there's a sentence that doesn't make any sense to me in the procedure for the acceptance. The second paragraph under purpose starts with, "Our goal is to ensure that the regulations are consistent with the bylaw and not more restrictive." It doesn't really have to do with what is being discussed in these paragraphs. It feels like it was taken from somewhere else, because this is really about making sure that the application forms are complete and to avoid constructive approvals. Doesn't have to do with the relationship with the regulations and the bylaw. So I would just take that out. I
Okay.
think it'll confuse people to see that there.
Do we want,
Unless the lawyers told us to put that there, in which
Yeah.
case, whatever.
we'll leave it. Do we want Crystal to make these modifications and bring them back to us? Or can we tell her, she knows what needs to be done and that we trust their
We'll
mate?
try- Yeah, when we come back to publish the whole thing and
Right, okay.
rewrite it all, then we'll make sure we'll
Then
do a last look.
I think we need a motion to approve these modifications to our application process with the modifications or changes recommended today.
So moved.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye. Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Crystal.
Crystal.
Thank you, Crystal.
That was amazing. Okay, Bradford, next.
Next is approval of minutes from September 10th, 2025.
Yep. So, does anybody have any modifications? I made a couple small,
Yep, I did too. Tiny,
but mine were very small.
yes, nothing substantive.
Okay, then if we could have a motion, please?
I move that we approve the minutes for September 10th, 2025.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, one more motion.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Bob?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye.